You're watching Pyro Media Network. Hello, Pyro Media family. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience with us is fruitful. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. And we do hope you consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
What is going on, everybody? Lottie-dottie. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in to Kwame Speaks. I want to welcome you guys back to the show, your weekly dive into the stories that matter, the voices that are too often silenced, and the resistance that refuses to back down. I'm your host, Kwame, and today we're tackling 3 urgent issues shaping our nation and the world. But before we get into our top stories today, we do have some breaking news right here on Kwame Speaks. So this morning, we did get news that Assata Shakur has passed away in Cuba, Havana, Cuba, to be more exact, where she fled to after escaping from prison. Cuban officials said today. So she was 78 years old. Today we honor Assata Shakur, a revolutionary, author, and unyielding fighter for Black liberation. Born in 1974, Shakur was a member of the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army, standing against systematic racism and state violence. Convicted in a controversial case in the 1970s, widely criticized as politically motivated, she escaped prison in 1979 and has lived in exile in Cuba ever since. Her autobiography continues to inspire generations of activists demanding justice and equality. Assata Shakur is more than history. She's a symbol of resistance, courage, and the ongoing fight for Black freedom. We honor her today and every day. May her voice and her legacy live on in infamy. All right, you guys. Shout out to this Black queen and shout out to her legacy. And we hope that we're praying for her family and all those who are affected by her passing. All right, y'all. Let's get into the top 3 Friday on today. We used to do top 3 Thursdays, but now we're doing top 3 Friday on Kwame Speaks. All right. So let's get into the first one. So breaking on today, like craziness. Like first thing I woke up to was former FBI Director James Comey was indicted on today. Okay, in a move. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the political landscape, former FBI Director James Comey was indicted on charges of making a false statement and obstructing a congressional proceeding. What? Okay. This marks the first prosecution of a former senior official linked to Donald Trump's repeated criticisms of the 2016 Russia investigation. The indictment follows Trump's public urging of Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate political opponents, triggering bipartisan concerns over the politicization of the Justice Department. Comey has declared his innocence and called for a trial. Interesting. Take a look.
Breaking news. Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted on charges of making false statements and obstruction of justice. This comes just days after President Donald Trump issued a public demand for his Justice Department to bring prosecutions against Comey and other political foes. Prosecutors have been evaluating whether Comey lied to lawmakers during testimony related to the investigation into ties between Russia and Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. The statute of limitations to seek an indictment against Comey runs out next.
So I just find this super interesting, to be quite honest with you. And I'm very interested to see how this is going to turn out, because I during trials we get a lot of information that may not have been revealed publicly before. So, we've seen Trump try to go down this rabbit hole with many people before. Like, for instance, what was his name? The guy that, the Fox News owner, Rupert Murdoch, that's his name. Sorry. Rupert Murdoch and going after the Times and going after different things, like, and I just find it interesting that he's doing these things because it's obvious that it's politically motivated. So we'll see how it all goes. We're going to keep an eye on this. It just broke today. He was just indicted today. So we'll see how it goes. We'll talk more about it in the following weeks to come. All right. There's also something else that's been going on that I think that's been kind of flowing under the radar, especially in the YouTube and blogging and Twitch world. Trump's Caribbean naval deployment sparks international controversy. The Trump administration's recent military operations in the Caribbean targeting alleged Venezuelan drug vessels have raised serious legal and ethical questions. On September 2nd, a U.S. naval airstrike sank a vessel from Venezuela, killing 11 people, while the administration claims the vessel was operated by members of the gang Trente forgive me for mispronouncing it, but then and transporting narcotics. No evidence of drugs or weapons have been provided. Experts have questioned the legality of the strike under both U.S. and international law. Now, I want to show you guys a video of what's going on to give you guys a roundup and who this person is right here. Take a look.
Caracas, Venezuela, September 19th, 2025. The political and military tension between Venezuela and the United States escalated sharply this week, with Caracas accusing Washington of waging what it calls an undeclared war. The remarks came from Venezuelan Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez, who condemned the deployment of U.S. naval forces in the Caribbean as a direct threat to Venezuela's sovereignty. Speaking at a press briefing in Caracas, Padrino denounced the U.S. operations. He declared, "There is an undeclared war unfolding in the Caribbean where, according to him, American warships have moved aggressively under the pretext of combating drug trafficking." In one of his most forceful interventions yet, the defense minister accused Washington of executing individuals without due process. Vladimir Padrino Lopez said, "You see how people, whether or not they are drug traffickers, have been executed in the Caribbean Sea. Executed. Without the right to defense, with so much technology and so much power, and not being able to intercept a vessel in the waters of the Caribbean Sea, the world has to be alert today." His words underscored a central message. Venezuela sees the U.S. presence not as a limited counter-narcotics mission, but as an act of aggression that puts the entire region at risk. By highlighting the deaths of those on board intercepted vessels, Padrino framed the U.S. deployment as an overreach of military force cloaked in anti-drug rhetoric. The backdrop to this standoff is Washington's decision to send 8 U.S. Navy ships into the Caribbean earlier this month. Officially, the mission is part of an intensified operation against drug cartels that use maritime routes to smuggle narcotics toward North America. According to U.S. President Donald Trump, American forces have already neutralized 3 suspected trafficking vessels since the start of September, leaving 14 dead. On his Truth Social account, Trump released a short video clip showing what he described as a kinetic attack on a Venezuelan boat. In his words, the operation killed 11 narco-terrorists. The footage quickly circulated online, further fueling outrage in Caracas, where officials accused Washington of boasting about unlawful killings at sea. In response, the Maduro government has sought to demonstrate military readiness. On Wednesday, Venezuelan authorities announced the launch of 72-hour military exercises on La Orchila Island, a strategic outpost located just 65 kilometers from the Venezuelan mainland and near the area where the United States recently intercepted a fishing vessel during an 8-hour standoff.
Now, listen, I'm all about, trying to stop, drug wars and narcotics trying to be entered into the United States. I'm all about that. I'm all about trying to keep narcotics out of this country. Okay. But let's be real. Let's be honest about certain things. Okay. If this is indeed true, okay, and what the Trump administration is saying is true, which I don't believe, because the Trump administration lies so many times. That's just the way it is. But if this is indeed the case, then you didn't do what this country is already based on, which is due process. Everybody has their right to due process. So you don't know who was on those boats. You don't know what those boats were. They very well could have been boats that were carrying narcotics. But why blow it up? Like, why is that even and sending a naval unit to do that? Like, that's crazy to me. I don't know. I want to see transparency. I want to see, efforts to kind of protect the borders of this country, to protect the transmission of narcotics. But at the same time, I also want us to preserve human life and also make sure that is something that we're doing, that we're not walking around and trying to bully the rest of the world. Like, that's a concern for me, because if you can just go ahead and blow up any random ship, what else can you do? What else are you willing to do? That's my concern. I don't know about y'all, but that's really what's bothering me about this whole situation. So we'll be following up with this story and keeping you guys updated on this one, because I need to know what's going on. I'm sure you guys want to know as well. And I think this is the beginning of something more, which is really concerning for me. Okay, so let's take a pause real quick for a moment and discuss more on the other side of the break. All right, we'll see you on the other side.
Hey y'all, it's Nicole D. Vick from Nicole D. Vick Live, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Hey, it's Pastor Kim from It's Just Kim Live Show, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
All right, you guys, we are back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're discussing the top 3 stories of the week, and A lot's going on. But before we get into the rest of the show, make sure you guys hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Please go ahead and hit that. It does help the algorithm, and it does let people know that we are loud, live, and in color. Also, if you haven't done so, please consider subscribing to Pyro Media Network. I appreciate you for all that you guys do. And if you're feeling so inclined, if you're liking what we're doing, whether it be this show or any of the other shows on Pyro Media, feel free and consider donating to the platform and supporting us. You can do so directly at Pyro Pyro Media on Cash App, or if you're feeling so inclined to bless me, you can go ahead and do so by hitting up $Kwame C86. All proceeds are going to Pyro Media. So thank you guys so much. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into the last story of the day. Legal resistance to Trump's authoritarian moves intensifies. Now, I want to let you guys know that as the Trump administration continues its crackdown on dissent, legal groups are stepping up efforts to protect civil liberties. Organizations like Lowell and Associates, the Democracy Defenders Fund, the Washington Litigation Group are providing pro bono legal services to individuals facing unjust prosecutions, job losses, and financial hardships due to the administration's policies. So these efforts are crucial in upholding the rule of law and resisting authoritarian overreach. So take a look at all of that, you guys. And if you are experiencing that, any type of retaliation or job loss or any type of effect from this Trump regime, please go ahead and contact those organizations, the Lowell and Associates, Democracy Defenders Fund, and the Washington Litigation Group. And there's so many more that's joining this coalition. So I'm happy to see it. But from the indictment of James Comey to the unlawful military actions in the Caribbean and the growing legal resistance to authoritarian policies, one thing is clear. The Trump regime's overreach is galvanizing a powerful wave of opposition across the nation, from the streets to the courts. People are standing up and saying enough is enough. But this is just the beginning. We must continue to fight for justice, for accountability, and for the preservation, of our democratic values. The resistance is not just a movement. It's a commitment to ensuring the power remains in the hands of the people, not in the hands of a few who seek to undermine our freedoms. So, to all those resisting, to all those speaking out, to all those refusing to be silent, your voice matters. So together, we will hold this administration accountable and work toward a future where justice and liberty prevail. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode of Kwame Speaks. I appreciate you. Be sure to stay informed, not just for yourself, but let others know too. I'm quite shocked on a weekly basis to know about those who may not be tapped in or may not be knowledgeable in some of these situations. And I think the more that we get so focused on other distractions and not really tap into what's going on in the dismantling of our democracy and the dismantling of what seems to be the Constitution, it concerns me greatly. So please stay informed, stay engaged, and keep resisting. And you don't have to be on the picket lines. You don't have to do major things. You don't have to be like, all of these political activists that are out there. You can do small things, what may be small, but super impactful. Whether it be you letting other people know about the real deal of what's going on, when you staying informed, not just on one party or the other, but really staying informed about what's really going on, really researching and really finding out how and why the things are happening the way it is. Understanding what our government is about and really breaking that down. I'm not saying you have to be a doctoral candidate for political studies, but you should have a basic understanding of how our government works. You should have a basic understanding of what's happening on the news and why it's happening and why it matters. So, Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, I'm your host, Kwame. I'll see you on the other side. Stay blessed.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.